Hi everyone, this is Jim. Welcome to this Blitz chess postmortem video. This is a postmortem of my Blitz chess game number 151. I was white here, and I kicked off with d4. We're going to just look at this with the opening book a little bit, and then I'm going to leave the chess engine turned off so we can do some tactical quizzes. My opponent plays knight f6, one of the top choices, can lead to either the Nimzo Indian or the King's Indian, or as we'll see in this game, even the Queen's Indian. So c4, e6. Thinking at this point, I'm thinking it's going to be a Nimzo Indian. Black can also transpose back into a Queen's Gambit declined with a later d5. So knight f3, avoiding the Nimzo Indian is the top choice, but I play knight c3, allowing the Nimzo Indian. And then my opponent plays d6, so not going for the Nimzo, but going for a Queen's Indian setup anyway. So it's a bit of an unusual move order. I could play a3 right away for something different, or even e4 is possible here. Probably e4 is the most accurate move. This threatens to put the bishop on b7 and clamp down on the e4 square, but it hasn't been played yet, so I can get the e4 in first and then support it. So that'd be maybe the most interesting way to play. I played knight f3, and we've transposed back into a mainline Queen's Indian. It's just the same as if he had played... if I had played knight f3 first and he had played this b6 move and then I played knight c3. It would be the normal move order. Okay, he goes bishop b7, and then I go e3. I don't usually play this, so I'm not I'm not familiar with all the nuances. I was surprised to learn that a3 was the top choice here, which I guess is guarding against the bishop coming to b4 and putting that pin on and maybe preparing a later advance of the queenside pawns. Also bishop g5. Getting the bishop out of the way before advancing the e-pawn is probably worth considering here. So I play e3. My opponent goes after the center with c5 right away. I could have played bishop b4 there since I haven't prevented it with the move a3. It looks like that's the top choice. But bishop b4, I go bishop b2, maybe bishop d3 is slightly more accurate, and he goes d5. And now we're really out of the opening book. And we'll just look at this. I did check it out with the chess engine, and it likes this move, c takes d5. It's generally a good idea to, if you have the chance to exchange one of your wing pawns for a center pawn, it's usually a good idea. It doesn't involve other weaknesses. So the engine gives white a slight advantage through most of the rest of the opening. So b3, maybe not the most accurate move, but it does slow down this move c5 and maintains an edge for white. Knight bd7, castles. It's just a little bit slow. It wasn't clear b3 was needed there where this bishop was going. But after bishop e7, I go ahead and put my bishop on b2, figuring that eventually this diagonal will open up when I take the c-pawn with my d-pawn. He castles. I play rook c1. Goes rook c8. Queen d2, rook e8. And then knight e5 I play, and knight f8. And now this is an interesting position here. I played the natural move f4. I'd sort of planned this in advance, just supporting my my knight in the center there. But there is a tactical shot here, and if you want to spend some time looking at it, it's pretty deep, so you might want to pause the video and think about it for a while. See if you can find a tactical move here that gives some good play for white. Okay, if you want to think about it some more, pause the video. I'm going to give the answer away. It is bishop to b5. So this rook is somewhat embarrassed. It can't go anywhere, and white tries to block this. There's now a pin on this knight, so you can play something like pawn takes, and knight takes. So the knight being pinned here is blocking the view of the queen on this square, and so you can actually pick up a center pawn that way. So I might not have played that in the exact sequence. I think the chess engine said it was more accurate to take here, take back with the knight, and then take here, and then take here. And I guess in this position, black can also try taking with the rook. But that's a bit of a peculiar position for the rook there. So anyway, interesting ideas, and it leaves black with this isolated pawn here and gives an edge to white. So that would be the best way to play in this position, and sort of thing I probably should have thought about, because it is a weakness there that the knight is gone from the square and the rook is exposed to an attack and he has no move. So you should always try and if you have the opportunity to get your opponent's pieces in a bind like that, it often leads to good things. So, but I played f4, not a bad move, and I still keep some advantage through here. So c4 here. This was actually a mistake, and at this point I get quite a significant edge. It really just loses a pawn. I take, he takes, bishop takes, and it did open up a diagonal for his bishop, but there's just really not enough compensation there. And on top of that, I'm threatening on f7, and I was curious about this move. He played rook takes c4 here, giving up the exchange. I didn't know if that was forced or not, but when I looked at this with a chess engine, actually rook takes c4 is the best move in this position. So so he was on his toes there. It's a difficult position, and so now I have an edge, and I'm playing for a win here. And I keep the edge for quite a while, but it turns out that it gets sticky at certain points. So I have what should be a winning advantage, but you know, the end game is not upon us yet. There's a lot of middle game to go through yet, and so he's just down the exchange, which means he has the same number of pieces. And if he can keep his minor pieces active, keep my rooks from getting active, you know, he can keep this game going quite a while, and keep open the possibility of me making some mistake. So after queen g3, he plays knight to d5. Maybe that was a bit of a mistake, because the more pieces get exchanged off, the closer we are to a position where my rooks will start to dominate his bishops. So, but we're not there yet. This is still looking pretty good. Bishop a5, and then I try to exchange off a bishop pair, which he allows. And so now I should be doing pretty good. f6, kicking the knight. Knight goes to c6. You know, I was trying to encourage more exchanges. Queen d6. And now right here, the chess engine had a very interesting idea. Didn't really think about this during the game, but I'll just show it to you. It was the move f5 here. So, I mean, the knight was under attack, but he can't take it with the queen. If he takes it with the bishop, I will take his queen. So he's probably got to trade queens here. And then this helps me out a lot, even though it messes up my pawns a bit. Just getting the queens off and leaving me with two rooks and a knight against rook, bishop, and knight. It's a good advantage for white, and should lead to a more easily winning endgame. So the way it was played, the queens stay on. He went bishop c4 here. Good post for the bishop, hitting my rook. And then he starts to maneuver his knight, try and get that back in the game. And I try to get my knight to an active post. Queen e7, attacking my pawn here. Then I have this move, knight b2, attacking his bishop. So far so good. Knight b6 defending. And I decided to go ahead and just exchange this off. And then play king f2 to defend this pawn. So he's got three attackers on it, but I have three defenders. So if knight takes, rook takes, queen takes, rook takes, king takes, and I come out on top. So just enough defense there. He plays h6, and I go a4. And maybe this was a mistake. I probably should have played something else here. There's a really interesting tactic that he has here, and I mentioned something about this on the next move. I began to realize there was a problem here. But why don't you guys take a look at this situation and see what you think black might play here. Okay, pause the video. I'm going to give the answer away. There's actually two moves that black should think about here. Knight to d6 and knight to d2. And the thing those two moves have in common is they both target this square, the e5 square, or e4 square. If the knight gets to e4, Let's see let's erase some of these lines. The knight gets to e4. From that square, it's forking the queen, the rook, and the king. So it's actually quite a serious threat, this knight d2 and knight c6. And because he's forking 3 pieces, it's difficult for me to get them all out of the way. And I can't actually stop him from coming to that square. I don't have a pawn that defends that square, and he's already got 2 pieces supporting it, supporting a knight landing on that square. So just heading immediately for e4 there is a winning move. And so after f5 I played a takes b5, continuing with my plan. And then I played rook b1. And here it's even more powerful, this idea. He can come here and attack my rook, and then he can jump into this e4 square with tempo. So this is just winning for black. At this point, the evaluation swung from being a couple points in my favor to being 3 points in the favor of black. So it's lucky for me he missed that. I didn't see the idea until I played this move queen f3, and then after I played queen f3, I realized that just the direct knight d2 is a fork, but I still didn't see this idea of knight to e4. Which I've actually improved a little bit by putting the queen on f3. I made it a little safer. Because now he's only forking 2 pieces and I have time to move one of them when he threatens the fork. But yeah, this is still good for black here. He played rook to e4 instead. And then I had figured out what was going on by now and played the move rook d1. Better late than never. Well, it would have been a loss if he had found that. But so now I'm back to a winning position, and I maintain that, although I don't do this in the most convincing way. So there's one more point here where I have kind of a lapse, I would say. Pushing this pawn turns out not to be the greatest plan. Maybe because he has the move b4 here. That's right. I was trying to remember what the computer suggested. Yeah, he suggested just playing b4, dislocating this rook, and then maybe he can round up this pawn later. And the knight is free to move after b4. So, yeah, I'm just not playing this in the best way possible. But I keep pushing that pawn, and he's got to do something about stopping it. And I was planning to play rook to d4 there and try and force another exchange. And I realized at this point that actually that wasn't a good plan, because he can just take, and after the trade he can grab the d-pawn, and then my advantage is just not that great. So rook d5 instead. He plays b4, hitting my rook, and now rook b3, knight takes d6. Yeah, so knight takes d6 was really the final mistake. At this point, I never actually gave up the advantage. The computer maintained a slight edge for white all the way through this part of the game, but it went from being +2 to +0.5 and back. But after knight d6, finally I'm winning again. It says right here, the most stubborn defense for black is to play the move rook to e6. I'm sorry, after knight d6. It's right here. This is his last chance to play a good move. I recommended the move rook to e6 there, defending the knight and just trying to hold on, and then he could use this pawn to distract my my knights, so my rooks, I mean. So this might go on for a while, actually, this particular game. So that would be the most stubborn defense. He played queen a4, and now I am just winning. And the other problem he was having was he was just low on time at this point. So at this point, he ran out of time, and I won. But there's some interesting points there. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Leave any comments you have in the section below, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.